Happy birthday to you. Happy. Hang on a sec. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to. Oh, hang on. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Morning, everyone. Morning. 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 Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbirds have spoken like the first bird. Pray for the easy, pray for the thingy. I've got a jackdaw right up my bum. It's that kind of morning, tra la 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 la. Morning, Faith Goodman. I take that as a huge compliment that you prefer our quiz to any other quiz show. And I forgot yesterday, or whenever it was, to talk about historic game shows. So we will be talking about historic game shows. I'm gonna try and be quiet because we've got sickness in the house. We've got sickness in the house. But we're gonna have fun. Morning, Marshy Bell. Marshy Bell? Marshy Bell? I'm gonna push you away a bit. There's nothing more hideous than seeing oneself close up, I tell you. And we inflict that on you all the time. May Edmondson, where's Wally? Where is the Wally? Mark, apologise for being there. Andrea. In the corridor, now. Jodie Melia, Lynn Stewart, Elliot, I will be texting you soon, I promise. Elliot, I was going to go and see Rylane last night. I was with Fleur, my daughter, and we were going to go and see Rylane, but we couldn't stop gassing, as my granddad used to say. He used to say about all the women in the family, you don't stop gassing. Did anyone else you know say that? Gassing. I guess that means like you turn the gas thing on and it just keeps going. Kids, Minky Moo. Morning, Ross. Morning, May Edmondson. Morning, May Edmondson. Never know what that music is that kicks in straight off the back of that, but I tell you what, it's nowhere near as good as the jingle. Right, let's pull you up, so to speak. Let's pull you up and let's put you on. Oh, guys. Hashtag fuck off Friday. God, try that. Makes you go a bit lightheaded. Oh, must have forget my meds. Thank you, Jenny Scam. It's The Last of Us, but of course it's been The Last of Us. It's been the last of The Last of Us. There is no The Last of Us. No more hanghead in shame, Andrea. No more Pedro Pascal with his just gooey, squidgy little face. Who else thinks Pedro Pascal's got a gooey and squidgy little face? He's got one of those. Do you remember those things you used to get when you were younger? This is Pedro Pascal. I mean this in the nicest way because he's got a lovely face. But I don't remember, they were like rubber or plastic or something, and you had 3 holes that you'd put, or 4 holes that you put your fingers in, and you go with his face. That's Pedro Pascal when he smiles. I have seen the riots in France, and all I can say is I wish we were in any way vaguely, and I'm not encouraging civil unrest. Let me just say that from the outset. But if only we had an opinion beyond going online and going, do you know what I mean? So I think, whilst not encouraging civil unrest, I think the French have got some backbone. They don't like what's happening. Up the revolution and all that sort of stuff. Christos, my mate, he sent me an image of Pedro Pascal on a flight after shooting The Last of Us, having bought everyone in the cast and crew of Five Guys. Me and Maddie have never seen an image more wholesome. It's just so wholesome. I love the fact that wholesome is a word again, isn't it? People say wholesome. That's so wholesome. In funny shit this week on the No Name Sunday show, I know a lot of people don't get them because they're kind of youth. I mean, I don't get them. They're youth. I just like hanging with her and just laughing about stuff. Not taking this world so seriously. It's such a serious place out there. Got to tell someone about the babysitter. Russ. What the hell happened there? You know, what happened? I mean, had a drink, everything went blurry, sat down opposite incredibly charming, attractive young fella. Next thing you know, I've been tagged. Good morning, Tana Smullen. Is that right? Tana Smullen, not Tanya Smullen. Zoe, are you going to go and get one, babe? You're going to go and get one, babe? Tell you what, right? Know where to go. Really know the best place to go, Zoe. Lee, when I see you for a coffee, mate, I'm going to get them all out. I'm going to get every single one of them out. And we're going to compare and contrast. Jessica Frost, no, I'm not. I think I'm in a little bit of a hypermanic mode, guys. Hello, Myra Instance. Myra, hello in Australia. Becky Fithian, morning, love your name. Vicky Waiting, I'm loving the beanie, minky, monkey. Oh, guys, I just don't know. I just don't know. Hard drive. Have to use a lot of hard drives in this house. I've got so much bloody content. It's like slipping out the doors, mate. It's slipping out. Oh, don't you love these? Oh, no. Just nearly knocked over some flowers. Oh, Lee, it's going to be a great coffee, I promise you. Alison Fisher, thinking of getting a tattoo, putting my late mom's date of birth on my arm. That's nice. I think it's nice. Well, I think it's nice if it's not subtle. I think it's nice, subtle or not subtle. See how I do that with my arm. You know what? Well, I've never been anti. I just never thought. Just never thought. And it was Nadia and Maddie's suggestion, so it's not my fault. But as I say, I'm thinking of going the whole hog, and I'm thinking of having a small lamb tattooed just there. Just a lamb. Little head, lamb head between my eyeballs. Shall I get a tattoo of you, Nazma? Mate, God. If you do, give us some Botox, right? Have you seen these? You seen that? I don't know what's happening. As you get older, one's head turns into a scrotum. Oh, mate. Mark's rocket fuel. Peer pressure, Russ. Russ, have you got one? I mean, a tattoo. Yeah, no, it was peer pressure. Or back in the day when I used to go out, dancing, clubbing, all that kind of shit, it was beer pressure. That's what we used to call it, beer pressure. A lamb between your eye barrows. Like that. No more coffee, Mandy. Jesus, the day's only just got going. Come on. Let's get real. If anyone saw my Insta story, I've got that lined up. Got that lined up. Got that one lined up. Then I've got another one of those lined up. And then I've got another cup actually from lined up. And then got another one of those lined up. Fucking hell. Jesus, calm down. Michelle Bell. I should get coffee moaning across my sternum. I should have it like down there. No, across my, I don't know, somewhere. Anyway. Oh, guys. Don't know about you, before really fed up now. That's my peak. It's gone. Okay. Seriously, hello, everyone. Yes, we'll be doing the Friday quiz. Hashtag fuck a Friday quiz. That will be coming at the end. 7 questions, which if you don't get right, don't come back. It's as simple as that. If you can't do it, get out. It's not the taking part, it's the winning. All that kind of stuff. Sort of. You've got to get at least 5. If you don't get 5, go. Just go. You need to do more revision. Everyone's in revision mode. What you're saying, Sonia Donovan, you want to go and clean your house rather than listen to this. That's okay. Does anyone else remember in Police Academy there was that strange actor or character who had long hair? And whenever he came on camera, he'd go, just make weird shit, weird noises. I loved him as a kid. He must have appealed to my latent bipolar madness at the age of 7. Nicole Abbott, you're probably wondering what the hell you've entered into. New to this, hey. Yeah. Fridays are a bit batshit crazy. Anyway, the news. Let's talk about what have we got in the news. What have I popped in the title? Trans athletics banned. Trans women, and they're being banned from women's contests in athletics. We're going to briefly talk about that. Top Gear. Any Top Gear fans here? Top Gear has been halted due to Freddie Flintoff's accident. I'm going to talk about Miriam Margolyes. This is something that I saw yesterday. I mean, lots of us are fans of Miriam. I like Miriam. She's funny. She says things that other people aren't willing to say, a bit like beers that touch places that other beers cannot touch. Does anyone else remember Harp, Stay Sharp to the bottom of the glass? Miriam Margolyes, in a chat with Jennifer Winter, it is pretty always contentious, isn't it? And maybe it should be, maybe it shouldn't, I don't know. Miriam Margolyes did a podcast chat with Tony, what's his name? Flipping hell, what's his name? The guy who played Baldrick. Tony Robinson. Is that his name? Tony Robinson? Hang on, completely lost his name. What's his name? Tony Robinson. Interesting story, which I wonder I want to know what your thoughts are on that. And also, I stumbled across this group, I don't know if you've heard of them, called the London Lonely Girls Club. And I thought, well, let's talk about loneliness and making friends and becoming friends and finding friends and all that kind of stuff. Tony Robinson, thank you very much. Did someone say happy birthday for tomorrow? Julie. Julie, happy birthday to you, Julie. 65th, Tina Davis says, oh, wow, Julie Hilton. There will be the Saturday papers tomorrow. So remind me, because I don't have a bloody pen now. Julie Hilton, remind me. How can you remind me? How can someone remind me? Can someone remind me somehow? So there you go. Oh, what's happened up here? Stacey Randall, naughty, naughty. You've got naughty, naughty. She just got and gifted 5 memberships for someone. We have no way of deciding who that is, but it's very sweet of you, Stacey. Hashtag fuck off Friday. Oh God, I've suddenly got asthma. It's all the caffeine. Oh, Kylie Mitchell, and a happy birthday for myself and Pixie Petal Jenny today too. Happy birthday, happy birthday. So yes, friendships and all that kind of stuff. And I've got a couple and finally stories and obviously the BBC quiz. Right, before I have a heart attack, let's push on. Trans women are to be banned from female world athletics events over fears of a competitive advantage. I'm going to ask a poll question because I like a poll question. Do you agree with trans women being banned from women's athletics? Discuss. Ask your community. Now, if I was to give my, straight off the bat, if you were to pitch your ball and I was to have to pluck and decide which shot I was going to pull out of my arsenal of shots, without any prejudice or anything like that, my instinct would be to say, this does strike me as correct. But I think off the back of that, I think there is then an argument or a discussion that's needed to be had about trans women and trans men, perhaps only sporting activities. What saith you? Really keen to know what Erin thinks if you're here, darling. Transgender women are banned from competing in female world athletics. The reason for this is that people who go through male puberty, but then transition to women, are going to be excluded from female world ranking competitions from the end of the month, presumably because the feeling is that biologically, that puberty period as a boy, essentially, or, male puberty, will afford a trans woman physical attributes and strengths not of their own making or choice, admittedly, that will put them in a different sort of league, quite literally, to women who weren't born male. Happy birthday, Hilary Jones. Happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday, dear Kylie, Pixie, Julie. Happy birthday to everyone. Yes, lovely. Everyone say. I think trans sport decision is the right one, says Faith Goodman. Jessica Frost, don't worry, she'll be back. She's back tomorrow. You'll see her in the Curly Cooks. Don't fret. Andrew Crash, it isn't banned for those that do before puberty. It isn't banned for those that do before puberty. But it's not. I don't think it's legal. I don't think you're allowed to change before puberty, are you? Is that right? Doesn't it have to happen at puberty? So, let's have a look. World Athletics President Sebastian Coe, the council has agreed to exclude male to female transgender athletes who've been through male puberty from female world ranking competitions. The World Athletics Council has today taken decisive action to protect the female category in our sport. He said, many believe there is insufficient evidence trans women don't have an advantage over biological women. Wow. Well, there you go. What do you think? I think you can, Mark. Children are given puberty blockers, Sean Tucker. I mean, I wonder whether, are they getting into the sort of nuanced details of that? Let's have a look. Who have been through male puberty. People who go through male puberty. How do they judge that? How do they judge that? I mean, if puberty blockers can happen. Jennifer Winter, it always makes me uncomfortable, the idea of excluding anyone, especially a group that is so targeted anyway. But it is a complicated one. That's why I thought we'd talk about it. It is complicated, isn't it? Because let's just take all. One of the problems sometimes is one can't talk about things for fear of people getting hysterical, and it's all about intention, isn't it? And my intention in discussing this is for us to understand more. Just opening more caffeine, by the way. It's to understand more, isn't it? It's to hear all sides of the argument and all that. Now, I've seen many, or I've heard many female athletes, swimmers, etc., bemoaning the fact that they feel that there is such a contrast between some athletes who are trans women who are clearly can perform far in excess and go faster and break records and are stronger than many biologically born women can in their sport. And that must be, if you've dedicated your life to the physical perfection and within your gender as a woman. I mean, I suppose my thing about this is always the other way around. Sometimes looking at it the other way around. Let's look, as much as looking after trans women, let's look after women. And so we've got to understand it from the women's perspective as well as understanding it from the trans women perspective. And so I do wonder whether what has to happen here is, if there is a sort of guide point, and I think as someone just said, where is that guide point? Where is it that puberty, how do you define whether you've gone through male puberty or not? I'm unclear on what the rules and regs are around hormone blockers and all that kind of puberty blockers and all that kind of stuff. But if there is a way of quantifying whether you have been through male puberty, and you have, and you've transitioned and you are now a trans woman, then I think you go into a trans woman sort of event. I mean, one's loath to draw any comparison between, say, the Paralympics and the Olympics, but we have evidence and we have precedent for being able to accommodate varieties of different people in different races, right? Without it feeling like you're being barred from one thing or barred from the other. Because I suppose what I'm trying to say is, yes, I can see how complicated this is for trans women athletes feeling like they've been barred from something, but by including you in the same race, you're kind of barring women from their own form of competition, especially if there's evidence that a trans woman who has gone through male puberty can so dramatically outperform women. See what I mean? I think, let's see, what are you saying in your, I'm just chucking it out there, guys, just chucking it out there. Do you agree with trans women being banned from women's athletics? Okay, so 88% of you say yes. Let's have a look. Thanks, Jennifer Winter. It is discomforting, isn't it, to have these conversations? Jessica Frost, I think so. I don't know if I'm all right. Many would say not. Angela Thompson, I think the open separate events should be allowed. This opens athletics events out to all and doesn't exclude anyone. I mean, there's talk about this happening, isn't there? Also at the Grammys and the Brits of women artists, male artists, non-binary artists. Nikita MEO, sports should be categorized by sex, not gender identity. Trans men can compete in female sports because that is their sex. Trans men compete in female sports because that is their sex, that's fair. But Nikita, what about this idea that if you've gone through puberty, if you were born, if you're a biological woman and you identify as a woman, are you not at a disadvantage, an inherent disadvantage against someone who's not necessarily a brilliant athlete, but by sheer dint of them having gone through male puberty, has an advantage that isn't based upon skill, prowess, training, or technique? It's tricky, don't you think? I mean, I see what you're saying, Nikita, but I don't think it's that simple. I don't think it's that straightforward. And I think in it not being that straightforward, there isn't a desire to exclude or be horrible. Just isn't. There just isn't. It's a discussion, do you know what I mean? A-Frog, height and weight wouldn't help. Country, arm length, leg length, bone density, lung capacity and strength won't be. I think what you're saying is, do we have to have races for all those different types of things? No, I think this is pretty, I mean, I know what you're saying, and I think there is almost a way of kind of closing down the conversations by saying, whoa, what do we have? All these other gradations? No, not at all. Not at all. You have men, women, trans men. That's it. Faith Goodman, the USA swimmer was ranked something like 250th as a man and then first as a woman. That's my point. That's my point. That's my point. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I imagine that's really disenchanting and disheartening for the 249 women behind them, if you know what I mean. Gabrielle, if you've worked hard and trained to be the best you can at your sport, your gender shouldn't matter. No, but the part of this, which I think in a way is why this decision has been arrived at, is a trans woman the argument is, has she inherited an advantage on a purely physical sense, prowess sense, from having gone through some aspect of male puberty? And if she has, that's not within the purview or the experience of a cis woman or a biologically born woman, is it? So, and going back to Faith's thing is, if by sheer dint of having gone through male puberty, that pushes you so far up the rankings and ahead of every other woman, is that fair? Ellie Denning, I swam for county growing up and competitions against the girls were hard enough. On a whole, the power of the blokes off the block is unreal. Before the race is even in the water, it's unfair. Christos, good morning, sir. Would there be a specific category for transgender athletes? Because the natural physique will definitely play a role. If a clear trajectory is being defined, then inclusion shouldn't be an issue. There you go. Deborah R., I presume if you're born a man, then changed to a woman, you still have the strength of a man. That's what the inference is in this decision by the British Athletics, the World Athletics organisation. So yeah, anyway, well, this is the decision they've made. They've decided trans women will be banned from female World Athletics events over fears of a competitive advantage. Let's close. That was quite animated, wasn't it? Like, look, the majority of you agree, but that's not to say equality is not equity, says Minky Moo. But that is not to say that, well, it's not to say anything. It's just a conversation and it's fine. So there we go. We've had it. So this story is Top Gear. Who's a fan of Top Gear? Let's see. Are any of you fans? Are you a fan of Top Gear? Or is it one of those geezer programs that you go, now, I'm not into cars. I'm not into blokey programs, but I have to say, every now and then I found it quite amusing when, unfortunately, I know what we all think of Jeremy Clarkson, when he was on it. I mean, you can have the inherent contradiction of not liking someone, but them being frustratingly funny. And I always thought Top Gear was very funny. I found, what's his name? Thingy Hammond? What's his name? Mark? No, what's his name? Matthew Hammond? What's his name? Thingy Hammond. I found him a bit weird. James May was kind of all right. But my favourite, Richard Hammond, my favourite was, I have to say, my guilty pleasure was always him. I wasn't a fan of it with what's his face McGuinness, and it doesn't do it for me. Chris Evans didn't do it. There's something about the geezer chat that doesn't get me. But then when they go into some of the VTs or the films and the skits, the sketches, I like the sketches. I thought that was fun. Richard Hammond did have a brain injury, yeah, from a crash. And so obviously this is the same story that Freddie Flintoff, whilst filming, was involved in quite a bad accident. And so the BBC have decided that they're not going to resume filming season 34, no less. The accident happened in December. And yeah, they've decided to stop the show, which is quite something. I'm amazed they couldn't carry on with maybe it's a mark of respect. I mean, I don't know how serious it's been, whether, these things are, you may recover, you may not sort of look like you've got a long-term kind of problem, but you will be jangly, you will be jolted for a long time. So it could be that, he's in a sort of post-traumatic stress scenario. Oh, excuse me, what's going on here? Elliot. I am a fan of it with these three as they made it entertaining. I too am not that into cars, but that didn't matter. I feel like this is a right decision at the moment, though. There you go. Straight from the television expert's horse's mouth. Sorry, not calling you a horse, Elliot. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of it, but I was a fan of. Why am I sort of so afraid to say this? I liked it when Jeremy Clarkson presented it. Don't like him necessarily, but I liked it when he presented it. There you go. I'm not a massive Paddy McGuinness fan, actually, if I'm honest. I mean, I can see why he'd be like, but I don't know. So there we go. So yeah, so they're stopping that. I just wanted to know how many. Oh look, 3/4 of you aren't a fan of it. There was one particular. I tell you what was funny. I remember watching it down at my nan's one time, and an unlikely fan of it was Maddie. She loved it. She loved that kind. She likes geezer chat though, Mads. She likes Weatherspoon's geezer. And a lot of Top Gear is a bit Weatherspoon's geezer, isn't it? It's geezer chat. Obviously, it goes to great lengths not to just be geezer chat in this incredibly inclusive age that we live in. So it's not geezer, it's gerzer. What do you call a geezer bird? Geezer birder. So do you know what I mean? And there was one where I think Jeremy Clarkson was driving across the country in a Robin Reliant, was it? It was hysterical. Ladette, thank you. It's hysterical. I loved the sketches. I don't know if you feel the same, Elliot. I often loved their challenges when they used to, all the studio stuff. Ugh, it was all eggy as hell, I found. But anyway, it's the Top Gear stuff. Now, I want to talk to you about this story. This is a story that I found yesterday. It hasn't got much press, but I thought this was significant. This is Miriam Margolyes. Many of us, she's become a sort of naughty national treasure. So many people become national treasures, but she's just a naughty national treasure because she's willing to go to places other beers cannot reach. Heart stays sharp to the bottom of the glass. Tony Robinson has got a new podcast, which I think is called something like Cunning Cast. It's a cunning plan. When he was in Blackadder as Baldrick, Rowan Atkinson would say to him, no, I've got a... Oh, no, he'd say, I've got a cunning plan, or you've got a cunning plan. Anyway, he's got his own podcast. And in one of the episodes, a recent episode, he had a chat and was chatting with Miriam Margolyes, who obviously was a regular, I think, contributor in Blackadder. But she reminded him, or she shared with him a story of when they were on stage together. He reminded her of a moment. It was an impressionable moment in his acting life when they were on stage together. And he remembers standing in the wings, waiting to go on stage. And in his own words, he says, I was in the wings waiting to go on, and suddenly you came up to me, put your hand down my trousers, and tickled my balls. I never did, says Miriam. Why would I? And he said, well, why would I lie about that? Now, I think as someone's just said there, Tony Robinson was absolutely fine about this. They were laughing. It was very chatty. It was very sort of funny. They were both kind of, it was considered eccentric. It's very actorly, all that kind of stuff. But he said, I remember how split down the middle I was. One part of me thought, oh my God, this is fantastic. But another part of me just thought, nobody ever just out of the blue does that to me. And he said, I must squeeze every inch of pleasure out of this as possible. The other part of me was thinking, oh my God, in about 9 seconds, I've got to go on stage. I just wanted to ask you what you thought of this. Because there's no two ways about it. If this was a male actor, I agree, Faith, of Tony Robinson, but I just want to posit this possible question. If this was a male actor saying this, and the woman in question that they'd done it to also, like Tony Robinson, was not offended, would we be so forgiving? So I'm going to ask you a tweak of Tony's balls. I can't believe I'm actually writing the sentence. Was Miriam Margolyes' tweak of Tony's balls acceptable? Jennifer Winter, I like Miriam, but the story doesn't sit very comfortably with me. Just because Tony thinks it's okay doesn't mean if she did it to another actor, they'd be okay with it. That's the reason I thought this was interesting wasn't to throw googly out there, because I find Miriam Margolyes incredibly entertaining. But I think a story like this goes to the heart of how we can give a pass to people that we like, or how we can judge. When we judge actions or circumstances or things that have happened, we either judge them on the bare facts, no pun intended there, but on the bare facts, or our judgment becomes mediated through our feelings about the person. Classic case of that will be the Johnny Depp thing. You know, oh, we're all very fond of him, da, da, da. I mean, in the past, there was a case, I remember having arguments with you, Mum, Nanny Di, about Roman Polanski. Woody Allen, people who feel, you know, these are artists, these are creatives, there's something about them I really like. I align part of my identity to what their values are. So to be told that there's some kind of almost predatory creature or they've done something wrong, it's like, oh no, what way can I find not to accept that? And I'm not suggesting for a minute that this was, I mean, Miriam Margolyes is notorious for pranks and, you know, being a little madam. That's what we like about her. That's her shtick. But it just struck me when I read this. The first thought that came to me was, oh my God, imagine if this was Ian McKellen. Let's go for another national naughty treasure. And he'd done this, say, to Emma Thompson. Would we? I think we wouldn't be quite so, oh, that's okay, that's kind of funny. Even if Emma Thompson said it was fine. Do you know what I mean? And you're right, Teresa Saunders. Let's read some of your comments, because I think, Faith, you're absolutely right. You know, he was happy with it. This is no issue between them as friends. Maybe the question is more, should they discuss it in public? Dawn Decker, my mum has the glorious bluntness that Miriam exudes. Love the way you wrote that sentence. Chin drop moments, lots of laughter, minus the ball grabbing. I do think she was going a shock too far in manhandling Baldrick. And again, her intention might have been just hijinks and hilarity and jocularity on the side wings of a stage. But it just struck me again that when you read it, it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. We're giving I'm giving it a pass. I'm like, I don't have a problem with it. But should we have a problem with it? The droop. On principle, out of context, there should be a standard of behavior regardless of shtick. In context, definitely trickier to unpack, but ultimately a personal matter at this point. Very nicely put. Jennifer Winter, I see this problem a lot with gay men. Maybe because they're gay, they feel it's okay to be a bit more touchy-feely with women. And like you say, they get a pass. Interesting. Roma Traveller Girl, intention is irrelevant, I think. Good chip lollipop, no ball games. Sean Tucker, I do think there is a double standard. Karen Uller, wasn't it a long time ago? A different time. Yes, I mean, I hate to say it, but a little bit of that a different time has been used with a lot of things, like even John Peel I was talking about the other week. I was absolutely horrified to read and hear what John Peel had said in interviews. Christos, all hell would have broken loose. I guess you mean if it was a man. Internet would have been on fire. She has funny videos online who greets people good morning by farting and saying good morning in elegance. Depends on their relationship between them. If it's a power or age thing, then no, Faith. Interesting, yeah, power. It is about power. I think he was inferring that he was a much younger actor. I mean, it'd be interesting, to unpack that. He sounded like he was a little bit sort of wet behind the ears. Is that right? Wet behind the ears? I mean, I find Miriam incredibly funny. And again, it's that thing of interesting how we make allowances for those we like. And this, I mean, Tony Robinson goes on to say it's probably the high point of my sexual life. So there we go. She says, I don't think about sex. However, if I'm on a tube, listen to this. Miriam Margolyes then went on to say in the chat, I'm going to go and listen to the podcast. I don't think about sex. However, if I'm on a tube, which I'm not now very much because I'm frightened of COVID, she says, I always look at men's trousers to see where their cocks are. God. So there's still a little fragment of sex left in me. Jennifer Winter, want to make it clear my comment was in no way disparaging to gay men at all. My brother is gay. No, absolutely. Didn't feel it was at all. No, I think it's interesting. I mean, there was the same, I'm trying to think of a similar situation to this. There was the John Barrowman thing, wasn't there, where there was the suggestion that, and Chris Evans would always get his penis out in offices. I mean, again, it's like, in what way do we give a pass to some people? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, it just struck me as interesting. It's one of those stories that often kicks up, oh, right, if this was a man, how different would we feel? Finally, before we get to the Friday quiz, London's Lonely Girls Club. I like this. Has anyone heard of the London Lonely Girls Club? Let me just see. Was Miriam Margolyes' tweak of Tony Ball's? 80% of you say she was not right to tweak Tony Robinson's balls. There we go. Has anyone heard of the the London Lonely Girls Club? I think this is a lovely thing. No. Thanks, Anne. No, I hadn't either. The London Lonely Girls Club. This 20,000 women living in London have now joined a club that tackles loneliness since the pandemic. A woman called Holly Cook founded the London Lonely Girls Club on Facebook after moving to the city from Stoke-on-Trent, which is where my family's from. We're Stokies. She said the club had 10,000 members in 2022, but it's now grown to almost 31,000 people on a Facebook page called the London Lonely Girls Club. This is a sort of chat room or a group that was all about facilitating friendships and encouraging people to come together and make friendships and what have you. It's like social media taken to the next level. And the feeling was that, the pandemic has exacerbated loneliness and what have you. I just thought this is a really nice thing. I thought, what a lovely thing to, but here's the problem. So I just wanted to ask you guys, who would like to belong to something like a Lonely Girls Club? I mean, I guess you could have a Lonely Boys Club too. I think the nice thing about it being a Lonely Girls Club, obviously, there's gayness and everything, homosexuality and everything, but there's safety, not safety, but you're not with men. You don't have to worry about predatory men. I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. So, would you create a holiday? You would. I think there's something nice about that. I mean, I find our social media and everything a really nice way. You guys, you keep me sane. It's a really nice way to socialize and be sort of connected and hear what people think and hear different points of view and sharing things. I like all of that. But, making friends and especially in cities as well, but also in rural, isolated rural communities it's really hard. Just one second. So, yeah, would you partake of a Lonely Girls Club or something like that? But that's what I was going to say. This is my issue. Doesn't it then become a bit cliquey if you're not part of the original group? And this is one of the things that can happen, isn't it? You can get little groups and they're set up with the well-meaning intentions, and then suddenly people get a little bit proprietorial, people get a little bit, no, that's not the way we do things here, and suddenly conflict emerges. So, it's a lovely idea. But Nicole Abbott, you wouldn't. I struggle to make friends with Sally Hatton. I think it's a nice, at least you're going in thinking, if they all hook up, 31,000 people will meet up somewhere. Bloody hell. Emma Walsh, that's sweet. I find this community is my healing spot since the first lot. I don't know, there was something about it. I thought, oh, what a nice thing. What a nice thing. There's a lovely photograph of them all sitting in Hyde Park, hanging out together, looking very happy. Not looking lonely. No, not at all. Anyway, tackling loneliness. There are things out there. So if anyone's feeling lonely and you're in the London area, there are groups like this that have no dating aspect to them, which I think is really nice. Okay, couple of and finally stories before we get on to the quiz of the week. Jackie Vellino, I live in a rural location. I think it would be great. Yeah, harder to manage though, isn't it? Because you'd all have to be coming from different places, and there's no buses in the bloody countryside, is there? New balls, please, says Siobhan Jordan. Okay, this story, a couple of and finalies. Young boys rescued from New York sewer system after crawling through tunnel. A 10-year-old, an 11-year-old and a 12-year-old went down into the London sewers on Staten Island and got lost. We are doing a quiz, Marshy Bell. And so the firefighters, when they went down to try and rescue them, the kids had walked a quarter of a mile in the sewers. I mean, my God, the rats and smell and everything. Anyway, there are audio recordings online where the firefighters had to ask them to scream as loud as they could so that the firefighters could get down there to locate them. Just imagine that. Nutters. They weren't, I know, what did someone just said? Urban explorers? No, they're 11 and 12. They were just scallywags wanting to head down into the sewers. So yeah, imagine that. It's the kind of thing I'd have got up to. And this story, I thought this was an April Fool's, but it's not. Wait for the headline. Flatulent lawyer wins £135,000 payout after working from home request is denied. A flatulent barrister. So because of certain medication that he takes, he can't help farting. But he's won an harassment claim at tribunal because they wouldn't allow him to work from home because he kept farting. I mean, if that's the problem, I think it's fair enough. But wow, just a headline that you don't often see. Flatulent lawyer wins payout after working from home request denied. And that's your and finally story for the day. So let's get on to the quiz. So those of you who know the shtick, we're now going to do 7 questions to take us into the weekend. Get your pens and paper out. If you're not into quizzes, head off, have a lovely day. Hashtag fuck off Friday. Don't get too drunk tonight. Don't drink to blackout because it usually ends up in all sorts of terrible scenarios. Take it from one who knows. I really know this. Fridays start great, end awfully. Story of my life. So we're now going to do the questions of the week, quiz of the week. We're going to, what are we going to do? We're going to do this because, of course, it's the Friday quiz. Friday quiz. There you go. I'm now going to pull up another window. Let's have a look. New window. Let's do this because I want to be able to see your answers and give you little name checks as we go along. Here we go. Okay, so are we ready? Has everyone got their pens and papers ready? I'm going to now pull you all up here. Sorry, guys. I also have to do this and then this. Talk amongst yourselves. Sharpen your pencils. Andrew crashed back of the class. I saw that. I saw you throwing a pencil at Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker, stop talking to Fifi Cromack right now. I need everyone's attention. Otherwise, you can stand in the hall and you can wait for Miss Sawalha, the headmistress. She'll be with you shortly. You know what she's like. She loves to knuckle rub people's heads. Bye, Anita Burke. Made a note, detention next week. You're always going early at the quiz. Okay, here we go. So, question 1. Are we ready? Becky Fithian, you can phone a friend, as long as you don't tell anyone. Lindsay Lohan was one of 8 celebrities who found themselves in trouble with the law this week for allegedly using her Twitter accounts to promote what? A, cosmetic surgery, B, cryptocurrency, or C, the fur trade? I know this one. Is Lindsay Lohan having her first baby or had a baby? I think she's having a baby, isn't she? Do you put your answers on there, Marchie Bell? Don't send them in on a stamped addressed envelope. Do you remember those? I always used to get really excited that you'd put your own address on an envelope with a stamp in another envelope. And then my ADHD head would go, how many times could I keep doing this? This could go on forever. And then in another, and in another, and in another. Margaret O'Brien, you've fallen at the first, I'm afraid, darling. You ain't going to get 7 out of 7. You too, Chloe Georgina Reynolds. You're out. You're already out. No, it's not C, the fur trade. It's not A, cosmetic surgery. It's B, cryptocurrency. Bish, bash, bosh. In the back of the net. So the answer was, what did I say the answer was? The answer was B, cryptocurrency. Question 2, a big cleanup effort began in Australia this week after millions of fish died in a river. But what is thought to have killed the fish in Australia? Is it A, discharge from a local sewage plant, B, low oxygen levels in the water, or C, a leak from a chemical factory? What killed millions of fish in a river in Australia? Was it A, or is believed to have done? Is it A, discharge from a local sewage plant, B, low oxygen levels in the water, or C, a leak from a chemical factory? Oh, Oxygen, says Faith Goodman. Julie Hilton, Christine Bett, John Cameron, Becky Fithian all saying a leak from a chemical factory. Jackie Roswell, Georgina Demetrio, both saying oxygen. Helen Groves saying oxygen. Ali P, Margaret O'Brien, DK1612, oxygen. It is oxygen. It is B. It's been BB, isn't it? Straight Bs at the moment. Question 3. Oh, hang on. Let's have a little bit of this. Question 3. Greek intelligence services say they've uncovered a Russian spy in Athens. But what kind of business was she using as a front for her clandestine activities? I love that word, clandestine, clandestine. So what was a Russian spy in Athens doing as cover for her spying activities? Was it A, running a tattoo parlor, B, a health spa, or C, a wool shop? Wool as in what is on a sheep. I was going to eat a banana, but the sound of it is disgusting, isn't it? I can't stand listening to people eat. Not that I actively listen, but when a room goes quiet and someone's eating, it's like, nanny dime, mum, you have to eat your Cheerios in another room now. Can't bear it. So what did this Russian spy do as cover? Tattoos, health spa, or a wool shop? Karen, Rosemary McVie, Minky Moo, Jackie Roswell, Karen Reynolds, Marchie Bell, Nora Doyle, Helen Groves, Rachel Key, Ali P. All right, it's a wool shop. C. Question 4. By the way, I'm just slickly moving on. Question 4. A Mercedes-Benz given by Sir Paul McCartney to his daughter Stella for her 21st birthday was auctioned. But what did the fashion designer Stella leave on the back seat of the car as a nod to her famous dad? A, an old pop music annual. Oh, annuals. B, a vinyl copy of the single The Backseat of My Car. Or C, a Wings LP. What did Stella leave on the back seat of her car, bought for her by her dad when she was 21, when her car was auctioned? A, an old pop music annual. B, a vinyl copy of the single The Backseat of My Car. Or C, a Wings LP. Put it this way. What she did leave on the back of the car isn't what I would have wanted to get. What are you all saying? Alison Fisher, Christine Bett, Minky Moo, Sean Tucker all saying a Wings LP. Faith Goodman, single vinyl. B. Lots of you saying C. Good chip. Most of you saying the records. You see, that's what I'd have wanted. But no, it was the annual. What disappointment. Question 5. How are a husband and wife team hoping to travel from the Arctic to Antarctica? Wow. By A, light aircraft, B, a tandem bicycle, or C, an electric car? I really want to know how they're going to drive over the water. Oh, you could go, no, that's true. You can come from the Arctic ice through northern Canada, which is where we went, all the way down America, Central America, South America, and then possibly you could bunny hop from the bottom of Argentina to Antarctica. Maybe there's maybe there's ice pack that you can connect to. Anyway, shut up, Mark. I'm really literally thinking it through. I would have said tandem bicycle. Would you? I don't know. I haven't done the answer yet. Most of you saying tandem bicycle. B, 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 B. Laura Williams saying C, electric car. Sally Hatton saying B, tandem bicycle. Christine Bett, Becky Fithian, C. Rachel Key, B. The answer is C, electric car. Electric car. There you go. Final, oh no, it's not. Question 6. The cast of which hit TV series visited the White House this week? Was it A, Succession, B, Schitt's Creek, or C, Ted Lasso? Ooh. We started this, well, I'm not, that'll give it away if I tell you that we started it and then did it. Well, I've just given it away, haven't I? Because you know that we've watched. No, that's not true. Actually, we've started a couple of these and we haven't finished. So the cast of which TV hit series visited the White House this week? Was it A, Succession, B, Schitt's Creek, or C, Ted Lasso? Christos, coming in with C, Jackie Roswell, Ted Lasso, Christine Bett, Laura Williams, Rachel Kay, all saying C. Raspberry Mojito Girl saying Succession. It's C, Ted Lasso. Don't forget, guys, new season of Succession is landing. I think it's on Monday, isn't it? I think it's Monday. Final question. Anyone got 6 out of 6 so far? Final question. Anyone going into the weekend with a full score? Well done, guys. You'll have done so well if you have. And if you haven't, don't worry, you failed. Okay, question 7. Badgers have been causing trouble in the Netherlands this week because they keep taking drugs. All the badgers in Holland are taking ecstasy and they just can't control themselves. It's terrible. Badgers have been causing trouble in the Netherlands this week, digging burrows. But where? A, under tracks, B, on football pitches, or C, through dikes. Oh God, a lot of you have got 2 out of 6, Lynn. Haven't you? Anna Charalumbus. So why have badgers been causing trouble in the Netherlands? I'm joking, it wasn't drug taking. A, under train tracks, B, on football pitches, or C, through dikes. What do you get? So, Good Ship Lollipop says A, under train tracks. Sally Hatton, under train tracks. Sarah Wetherington, Emma Walsh, Anna Charalumbus. Jodie Mellier actually believed the drugs there. Alison Fisher, A. Anne, A. Jackie Roswell, A. Minky Moo, A. It's A, under the train tracks. You're absolutely right. So there you go, guys. That's the end of our hashtag Fuck Off Friday. Hope you have a lovely day. Obviously, content will be landing later today. The Curly Cooks is tomorrow. As I say, it's a pre-record, so that will be landing at 10 o'clock. There will be the Sunday papers. There's the weekly rushes coming. There's a vlog coming. There's all sorts of content landing on the channel over the next 24 to 36 hours. And obviously, the No Name Sunday show for members on Sunday, and a members live at some point. I'm trying to rope Nanny Di into it when she gets up. So, guys, have a lovely Friday. See you later. Bye.